Hi, everybody, and welcome to the San Luis Obispo International Film Festival. My name is Denise, and we've just screened the film Medicine Man, the Stan Brock story. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. What an important film for this time in our lives. And before we introduce our filmmakers who are with us today, I want to thank our major sponsors, BHE Renewables, American General Media, and KSBY TV. Thank you to all of you. And then specifically for today's screening of Medicine Man, the Stan Brock story, we want to thank French Hospital Medical Center. Thank you to all of our sponsors. We could never put on a film festival without your help. Now let's meet our filmmakers who are with us right now. First of all, I want to introduce Paul Michael Angel, who's the director, and then Vladimir V. Daniel, who's our producer. They're both with us right now. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Say hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the film.
Glad to have you with us today. So, The Medicine Man, Stan Brock's story, very important film. I'm interested in a couple of things I'd like to throw out. One of them is that I've looked up both of your bios, and Paul, you're a documentary filmmaker, so I can certainly imagine how you entered this world and found an interest in Stan Brock, although I'd still love to hear how this happened. And then Vladimir, I looked up your bio, and you're from the world of finance, aren't you? And it looks to me like it's possible that this is your first venture into being a producer. And I might be wrong about that, but I'm sure you'll let us know in a moment. But if that is so, I'd love to know how you got into this as well. So I'm going to be quiet and let you guys start talking. Thanks so much.
Well, thanks, Denise. Yeah, you're completely right. This is my first film as a producer. I'd like to say I'm sort of on the bridge of escape in the world of finance at the moment. And I think really the way that I got involved with this is really testament to the power of Stan's story, actually, and also the power of Paul's ability to kind of engage people with it. We sort of met by happenstance a few years ago. I just left a corporate job at EY, Ernst & Young, when I was working in corporate finance, and I was doing some of my own projects, mainly in technology, finance sector, that kind of stuff. And like I say, I just met Paul by chance, and he started telling me about Stan Brock and this film he was working on. I just thought, wow, what an amazing concept. It's got all these different elements, I think, to be a great film. It's a real timeless story in many ways. It's a fascinating journey through life, which takes you down all kinds of, crazy avenues, which you would never script in a way. And it's really a quest to make the world a better place. And I just thought if there's anything I can do to help bring this to more people, then I'd love to get involved. And, that's kind of how I came on board and helped with funding initially, kind of packaging the project, and just gone from strength to strength. And we've got more and more great people involved. We've got a couple of great editors, Katie Breyer and Tim Beeston, that came on board. Our exec producer, Well Kabani of Our Big Dream Films, has been really invaluable in making this possible. We've also had some consulting from Douglas Blush, who's a great editor, and Janusz Bleskov Janssen. So that's kind of the summary of my involvement with the project. Paul, do you want to maybe tell them about how you came across Stan to begin with?
Well, in 2011, I was working as a camera operator on various TV documentaries, feature film documentaries, and doing other video production. And I was really looking around for a story that was both like a major social issue, but somebody with a personal story which managed to kind of encapsulate everything into one person. And one of the producers found a newspaper article in the Sunday Times about Stan, and the article did kind of lay things out about how this British guy had taken a vow of poverty and devoted his life to this cause. And the article was really an inquiry into this guy's character and nature. Like, why would he do this? He's not an American, he's an outsider. Like, what has compelled him to come to our country and then kind of devote his life to this cause? And by the time you get to the end of that really well-written article, you don't quite know like why he has decided to do this. Like, what is Stan's motivation? And I thought that was fascinating. And I decided to pick up the phone straight away and try to call him. Having just put the newspaper down, I picked up the phone, and it was a Sunday afternoon. And I thought, well, the guy, you know, he's never going to be in the office, but I'll call and leave an answer machine message. And lo and behold, Stan himself picks up the phone and says, good afternoon, can I help you? And I thought, wow, this guy is like the real deal. So they make out he's this incredible workaholic in the article, and that doesn't seem to be the case. And from that point on, I was hooked. I thought, okay, I've got to do everything I can now to convince him that there's a film to be made here, and I can be the one to make it. And I was fortunate that he did choose me, as it were, because there were other filmmakers approaching Stan over that period. I think he just felt maybe there's an affinity here because we're both British, we've both kind of traveled the world a bit, and we both had the same affinity about understanding that there was a really big need for healthcare provision that just wasn't being met in the United States. And, you know, how could that be in the United States that people were still falling short and not being able to access good, reasonably priced health services? So we can't ask Stan now, unfortunately, but I think he did think, okay, this guy, less experienced than some of the filmmakers that come my way, but maybe he's got a bit of insight that maybe other people might not have. I'm not sure, but well, here we are now.
Yeah, and what a beautiful compliment is there for you that he did choose you when he had other options.
Yeah. No, it's really it's very flattering, because here is somebody who's achieved a lot, who's a public profile, who's kind of like built this whole thing and has got a lot to lose. And then here is me, who is relatively early in my career with very little status. I mean, we're not of an equal footing in that regard. He could have got somebody who was much more established. So yeah, I am flattered that he was me, and I like to think it's because of the way that we interacted on a personal level.
It must be. I would assume it must be. You know, truly. And what a beautiful film you've ended up making, and how fortuitous that you did become the filmmaker.
Yeah, lucky.
Honestly, it's such an honest film, and it's so beautifully told that perhaps it might not have been as well told had it been someone else. So it's really serendipity, I think, that you met each other. It would seem to me, anyway.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's kind of interesting, if I could just kind of add to that, I think it's quite interesting about us doing this very sort of American film is that coming at it from an outsider's perspective, we don't kind of have a preconceived stance going into it or any kind of political allegiance like a lot of people in the US will do. So we kind of try and tell the story as it is and sort of let people decide for themselves what to make of, you know, Stan's mission and Stan's beliefs without sort of being partisan about it, I suppose. And I think that makes it a lot more powerful because it's not, you know, a campaign film. It's a film about this person, this very honest commitment to service ultimately. And I think an American audience could really resonate with that. And then people can make their own decisions. And that's very much in line with Stan's personal ethos, where he didn't want to get bogged down in politics. He was really more about doing good work and helping people and trying to show people a better way rather than, you know, talking about it and getting involved in, you know, this kind of partisanship that we've had all over the world, frankly, over the past few years. It just creates more division rather than unity. So the film ultimately, I think, has become a bit of a testament to what people can achieve when they, you know, actually unite to help each other ultimately.
Absolutely, yes. And back to something that you were mentioning a moment ago, Paul, when you read this article about Stan, which prompted you to want to do the film. I was curious about one of the things that you were essentially curious about as well. So did you, through making this film, ever come up with the answer as to how and why Stan Brock, who's a Brit who spent time in South America, how did he end up focusing so specifically on the US? Was there a motive there that you could ever take away?
Yeah, I think that the US kind of intervened in Stan's life. So when he's running the ranch in Guyana, some US TV producers came down, kind of on holiday, on safari. And I think when they were there, they saw the potential of Stan to be in, I think, what was one of the world's first wildlife TV show formats,
Right.
Richard Omaha's Wild Kingdom, starting, what, 1968, I think. And I think that was an opportunity Stan would have jumped at, because like all children brought up after the war, they have a very positive vision of what American lifestyle, what the American lifestyle is, and what the kind of lifestyle America can provide you with. And that that idea that we have in Britain of America persists to this day. But I think there was a sort of real golden age after the war. So he was brought up with that, you know, the cowboy movies and everything. And I think he thought, hey, this is definitely the natural progression of my life. I love adventure. I've got an interest in naturalism. Maybe I can go to the US, do this TV stuff, and go into kind of zoology, because there's a whole kind of, you know, we've managed to squeeze everything into this this relatively generous 90-minute feature film format. But to me, it's cruelly reductive, because we didn't get in all this stuff about Stan's zoology career, like he discovered a species of bat, which is named after him. So there's all these so I think that's what it was. It was just that the proposition of the United States really encapsulated quite a few desires and dreams that he already had, and I think that's what brought him there. And I think he was shocked to see that there were people living in deprivation and people who couldn't afford to access a doctor.
It must have been shocking, and I do understand somewhat. Obviously, I'm an American, but having spent time over in the UK with you all, and also knowing a lot of the post-World War II veterans from the war and such, just listening to them over the years that I've been around, I know that there is this image of the United States that does not match up whatsoever with what your film is showing with healthcare here. And of course, it's shocking to us too, I must admit as well,
Yeah.
that we're not as able to fix this as we should be, given our budget and everything else. But yeah, what an amazing film, and very illuminating, I'm sure, for the world, not just for the UK, but also for America, to be seeing what you're showing on your film. How long did it take to make this film, beginning to end? How long were you involved with it?
I think my partner threatened to leave me about 3 times. It was kind of 9 years in total. So I first made contact with Stan in late 2011. We first shot in early 2012. Now, we finished filming in 2018. So that was like a 6-year filming period. And then really we cut the film throughout 2019, and then, you know, the first half of 2020. So yeah, it's kind of like 6 or 7 years in production. I don't think I can take this long with the next one, Denise. I don't think it's going to be good for anybody's career. So this is the last 9-year magnum opus. The next thing is going to be manageable and a shorter time frame for sure.
Well, what a beautiful tribute to Stan, and to really to healthcare and to helping others, to generosity, to selflessness. So if this becomes your opus magnum film, then it's a very good one to represent you, I would say. So we're out
Very
of
kind.
time. And so I want to re-thank our sponsors, BHE Renewables, American General Media, and KSBY TV as our general sponsors, and specifically for Medicine Man, the Stan Brock story. We want to thank French Hospital Medical Center. And thank you to both Paul and Vladimir for being with us today. They're in London. I'm here in California, so you guys get to drink beer. I'm still drinking coffee. But thanks again for a wonderful interview. Best wishes to you. And I want to mention to our audience that this film is in competition for an audience award. So please don't forget to click on the star you think is appropriate that represents your love of this film. Thanks again to everyone. Thanks to our audience. And I'll see you again. Thanks, you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for watching the film, everybody. Thank you.